Hello all, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name's Vanessa. This is one of the first videos I'm filming. It's going to be a series, and the series is going to cover my 4 shelves of my to be read cart. So each video is going to cover one of the shelves and what books are on there, and I'll give a little bit of information and read the back. And well, the reason I pick books usually is because of the cover, because of the author. But I very rarely read the back of the book, so this is going to be interesting to be reading the back of the books and actually getting an insight into what I'm going to be reading. And so we're going to start here. This book is called Manhunting, and it's by Jennifer Cruz. I got it at Value Village. I remember this pick. It was pink. It called to me. And let's see if there's a inside. Objective: find a man. Must be rich, handsome, and successful. Kate Sevenson is attractive, successful, a brilliant businesswoman, and miserable. After 3 failed engagements, she realizes it's time for a plan, an organized, detailed agenda with a clear goal: finding Mr. Right. The cabin's resort is ripe with eligible bachelors, all rich, distinguished, and ambitious, just her type, and they're dropping like flies around her. At least that's how Jake Templeton views the situation. After he's stuck pulling her latest reject out of the swimming pool, Jake's convinced this femme fatale is trouble, especially for him. So I love a good romance story. I love a good female main character, strong female main character. I did not know this book was about that, but the fact that it was pink and it said Manhunting and it was only $6 made me want to buy it. Okay. Next up we have When Grumpy Met Sunshine, and the moment I saw the cover of this book, I knew I wanted it. I didn't read anything. I love the fact that it's kind of like me and my boyfriend. Like, he's a little grumpy sometimes, and I'm a ray of sunshine. Not all the time, though. So when grumpy ex-footballer Alfie Harding gets badgered into selling his memoir, he knows he's never going to be able to write it. He hates revealing a single thing about himself, is allergic to most emotions, and can't imagine doing a good job of putting pen to paper. And so in walks curvy, cheery, cute as heck ghostwriter Mabel Williker, who knows just how to sunshine and sass her way into getting every little detail out of Alfie. They banter and bicker their way to writing his life story, both of them sure they'll never be anything more than at odds. But after their business arrangement is mistaken for a budding romance, the pair have to pretend to be an item for a public who's ravenous for more of this Cinderella story. Or at least it feels like it's pretend, until each slow burn step in their fake relationship sparks a heat neither can control. Now they just have to decide, is this sizzling chemistry just for show, or something so real it might just give them their fairy tale ending? Another love story. This whole to be read cart is mostly beach reads, love stories, romance. I pulled them all off of my bookshelf. And I actually haven't counted how many are on here, but I think it's gonna last me at least 2 years. That's how many books I have here. And I don't read too many books a year. I know some people read 100, 200 books. That's not me. I read like 26 to 35 books a year, depending. I mean, I have a full-time job and I have a partner, and I want to have a life outside of reading, but I love reading so much, which is why I keep accumulating books and I don't have time to read them. Which is why I bought this to be read card in the first place, so that I could pull off all the books that have been sitting on my bookshelf that I haven't read yet, and I want to get through them. And now I'm on a book buying ban because I keep going and buying and buying. I have over 800 books in this house, and most of them are unread. I have donated about 105 books to Value Village maybe 2 years ago, but then I kept buying, so I ended up, I think, buying more than 100 books. So I'm on a book buying ban until I finish this whole to be read cart, and my partner is holding me to it. So the next book is Better Left Unsent by Leah Lewis. And I did read the back of this book when I saw it, and I'll read it to you. 2 years ago, 30-year-old receptionist Millie Chandler had her heart spectacularly broken in public. Ever since, she has been a closed book, vowing to keep everything to herself. Her feelings, her truths, even her dreams, in an effort to protect herself from getting hurt again. But Millie does write emails, sarcastic replies to her rude boss, hard truths to her friends, and of course, that 1,000-word love declaration to her ex, who is now engaged to someone else. The emails live safely in her drafts, but after a server outage at work, Millie wakes up to discover that all her emails have been sent, every single one. As every truth, lie, and secret she's worked so hard to keep only to herself are catapulted out into the open, Millie must fix the chaos her words have caused and face everything she's ever swept under the carpet. With her signature, tender and heartwarming, Nancy Harris, author of When I First Held You, prose, Leah Lewis presents another unforgettable and moving novel that is perfect for fans of Rebecca Searle and Emily Henry. I have all the Emily Henry books and I have not read them yet. I've been meaning to read them, but this book, the second I read that it's about emails that have gone out, that she's written to her friends, to her ex, all of her feelings and emotions, I kind of connected with that, because sometimes I'm the type who I won't speak what's on my mind. I'll keep it all bottled up and I'll journal it in my journal and keep it aside. So let me just fix this. I think it fell a little bit, guys, and you can't see me. Perfect. Next we have By Any Other Name. I bought this one strictly for the cover. A guy reading a book and a girl reading pieces of paper with glasses on. It's just so me, and it's by Lauren Kate. With a successful career as a romance editor and an engagement to a man who checks off all 90... So there was a little technical error. My camera fell over. I'm kind of new at this. I got a new camera set up for my phone and ring light. So I'm sorry about that. I'll see what I can edit out. But the book was By Any Other Name. I'll show it again. And with a successful career as a romance editor and an engagement to a man who checks off all 99 boxes on her carefully curated list, Lainey's more than good. She's killing it. Then she's given the opportunity of a lifetime to work with world-renowned author and her biggest inspiration in love and life, the Noah Calloway. All Lainey has to do is cure Noah's writer's block, and she'll get the promotion she always dreamed of. But there's a reason no one has ever seen or spoken to the mysterious Noah Calloway, and that reason will call into question everything she thought she knew. She finally tosses her 99 expectations to the wind. Lainey may just discover that love by any other name can still be as sweet. So again, I bought this book because of the cover, and I'm really excited for it now. Another love story, another forbidden love story, it seems like, so it's really up my alley. Then we have Love at First Book. I will buy any books that have book in the title, that say bookshop, little bookish. I read The Bookish Life of Nora. Anything that has book in the title, I'm gonna buy it. So Emily Allen, a librarian on Martha's Vineyard, has always dreamed of traveling the world. So when her favorite author, Siobhan Riordan, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, offers her a job in the Emerald Isle, Em jumps at the opportunity. After all, Siobhan's novels got Em through some of the darkest days of her existence. Siobhan is writing the final book in her acclaimed series after a 10-year hiatus due to a scorching case of writer's block, and helping her is a perfect position for Em. If only she didn't have to deal with Siobhan's son, Kieran Murphy. He manages Siobhan's bookstore, and the grouchy bookworm clearly doesn't want his mother's new assistant around. Em persists, and spending her days bantering with the annoyingly handsome, mercurial Irishman only makes her fall more deeply in love with the new life she's built, and with the man who seems to soften toward her with every quip she throws at him. But when she discovers the reason for Kieran's initial reluctance, Em finds herself torn between helping Siobhan achieve closure with the series and acknowledging her own undeniable feelings for Kier. As Siobhan's novel progresses, Em will have to decide if she's truly ready to turn a new page and figure out what lies in the next chapter. One problem I always have with books is sometimes the character names, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing them right, and I never really look it up. I just get used to pronouncing it the way that I'm reading it. And then when I find out a new pronunciation, I can't think of the character like that anymore. I'm thinking of the name the way that my brain was reading it. So I have to stick that way. It's really weird. But I'm excited for this one too. Another forbidden love. Seems like another sunshine, grumpy kind of situation. Only When It's Us. I bought this for the cover. It's so cute. And I think it looks like it might be a soccer romance, which I'm not really one for the sports romance that's going on because I'm not a sports person, but we will see. From the moment Willa Sutter sat next to Ryder in class, she made it clear that she hates his guts. Her reason is a mystery, but its outcome suits him fine. Willa is a feisty, tempting chaos he doesn't need in his quiet, tidy life. She's the next generation of women's soccer. Wild hair, bee-stung lips, and a temper that makes the devil seem friendly. He'll leverage her hate as long as possible to keep his distance. When Willa asked Ryder Bergman if she could borrow his lecture notes, the silent, surly mountain man ignored her. Ryder is an arrogant, infuriating, flannel-wearing enigma. Mangy beard, frayed ball cap that hides his eyes, and a stubborn refusal to acknowledge her existence, but Willa's never backed down from a challenge. Forced to work together on their final project, Willa and Ryder begin a game of pranks and practical jokes, both determined to emerge as the champion. But once they catch unexpected feelings, victory begins to mean something else, winning each other's hearts. Another love story, which I'm excited for. The Cozy Coffee Shop of Promises. This was a $6 book on those Indigo book tables where it's like buy 3 for $6 or 1 for $6. I usually bulk up on those books because they have cutesy titles, and it's gonna be a really easy read, probably nothing too deep, just most of these aren't because they're beach reads and romances, but I like, short, quick books. A Dream Come True. Mel's dreams of opening a cozy little coffee shop are finally coming true. She's determined to serve the best flat whites and crumbly pastries in Devon, and nothing, not even local pub owner Tony or his fancy new coffee machine, will stand in her way. The trouble is, her mother is coming to town, and Mel's in desperate need of an instant boyfriend, and whilst Tony might be her business rival, he's also totally gorgeous and would make the perfect fake fiancé. A deal's a deal. Surely there's no chance that Mel could actually fall in love with Tony. So I bought this because it said coffee shop. That's another thing. Any books that say library, coffee shop, books, I'm gonna buy it. Bookstore, bookshop, book nerd, bookworm, all those kind of titles, I'm down for. And this is another one. I can already see the title. It's The Little Bookshop of Lonely Hearts. And I got this off the $6 table. Once upon a time, in a crumbling London bookshop, Posy Moreland spends her life lost in the pages of her favorite romantic novels. So when Bookend's eccentric owner, Lavinia, dies and leaves the shop to Posy, she must put down her books and join the real world. Because Posy hasn't just inherited an ailing business, but also the unwelcome attentions of Lavinia's grandson, Sebastian, aka the rudest man in London. As Posy and her friends fight to save their beloved bookshop, Posy's drawn into a battle of wills with the infuriating Sebastian, about who she started to have some rather feverish fantasies. Like her favorite romantic heroines, will she get her happy ever after? Another love story, bookshop, book nerds, all this kind of stuff I love. The Memories of Us. Now I bought this book, I don't know if you can see that, but I bought this book because of the cover. It's a girl frolicking in flowers, and the author's name is Vanessa Carnevale, and my name's Vanessa too. So sometimes when I see author names that are my name, I just feel like I need to buy their book. I know it sounds a little crazy. Can one moment change your life? When Gracie Ashcroft wakes after a car crash with severe amnesia, she must choose whether to live a life through other people's memories or start a new one all her own. Discovering her late mother left her an old flower farm, Gracie leaves her fiancé, best friend, and forgotten memories behind, hoping to learn who she is now. Torn between wishing she could remember and afraid of losing what she now has, Gracie starts to wonder, if you had your time over, would you live the same life twice? So this seems like it might be a little depressing, but I don't mind books that make you cry or make you feel different ways. So it's gonna be a good one. So this is the book, because I've already read 2 books off of this to be read card, so they're not here anymore. One's called Main Character Energy, and the other one was A Brilliant Life of Eudora Honeysett, and I loved those 2 books. They were both 5-star reads, and so I'm a little worried because it started off being 5-star reads, and I'm like, well, hopefully a lot of these books are as good as the first ones I chose. But this is the one I want to read next. It's Been a Pleasure, Noni Blake. Of all the women and men Noni Blake has pleased in her life, there's one she's often overlooked, herself. After the end of a decade-long relationship, Noni decides it's time for that to change. She's finally going to prioritize her wants and desires and only do things that feel good in the moment. As she embarks on a pleasure-seeking quest that takes her halfway around the world, she discovers that maybe she can have everything and everyone she's ever wanted. Effortlessly hilarious and relatable, Claire Christian spins a fresh feel-good tale about starting over as a 30-something woman who's been living life for everyone else. A story of self-discovery for the ages, Noni's journey serves as a sparkling reminder that life is what we make of it. So why not enjoy it? This sounds really good. I never read. I just liked the picture, and literally any books about self-discovery, self-development, I'm really interested in, because that's an area where I read a lot of self-help books. I love seeing people inspired to improve their lives, so this should be really interesting. The next one is Honey Girl. With her newly completed PhD in astronomy in hand, Grace Porter goes on a girls' trip to Vegas to celebrate. She's a straight-A, hardworking, high achiever. She is not the kind of person who goes to Vegas and gets drunkenly married to a woman whose name she doesn't know until she does exactly that. This one beautiful, spontaneous moment upends Grace's carefully laid life plans. Staggering under the weight of her parents' expectations, a struggling job market, and feelings of burnout, Grace flees her home in Portland for a summer in New York with the wife she barely knows. In New York, she's able to ignore all the constant questions about her future and falls hard for her creative and gorgeous wife, Yuki Yamamoto. But when reality comes crashing in, Grace must face what she's been running from all along, the fears that make us human and the need for connection, especially when navigating the messiness of adulthood. So I bought this book because I saw it on Instagram, on one of the Bookstagrammers, so I'm kind of really excited for it. I've heard good things about it and I saw good ratings for it, so this should be exciting. So this one is Love Your Life, and I bought it because there was a time, and I have not read a Sophie Kinsella book yet, but I own a few of them, and I just bought it because it was Sophie Kinsella, and I wanted to read some of her books. She seems like an author who is kind of in, writes the way that I like. Now let's see, here we go. Call Ava romantic, but she thinks love should be found in the real world, not on apps that filter men by height, job, or astrological sign. She believes in feelings, not algorithms. So after a recent breakup and dating app debacle, she decides to put love on hold and escapes to a remote writer's retreat in coastal Italy. She's determined to finish writing the novel she's been fantasizing about, even though it means leaving her close-knit group of friends and her precious dog, Harold, behind. At the retreat, she's not allowed to use her real name or reveal any personal information. When the neighboring martial arts retreat is canceled and a few of its attendees join their small writing community, Ava, now going by Aria, meets Dutch, a man who seems too good to be true. The two embark on a baggage-free whirlwind love affair, cliff jumping into gem-colored Mediterranean waters and exploring the splendor of the Italian coast. Things seem to be perfect for Aria and Dutch. But then their real identities, Ava and Matt, must return to London. As their fantasy starts to fade, they discover just how different their personal worlds are. From food choices to annoying habits to sauna etiquette, are they compatible in anything? And then there's the prickly situation with Matt's ex-girlfriend, who isn't too eager to let him go. As one mishap follows another, it seems while they love each other, they just can't love each other's lives. Can they reconcile their differences to find one life together? So this sounds really interesting. I just finished, like I said, the book Main Character Energy. It was one of the books I just read, and it was also about a writer, and she went to a writer's retreat. I don't want to give too much away in case you want to read the book, but it was really interesting. And the fact that this is also about a writer's retreat, because I'm also trying to write a novel and I'm also trying to write on my blog, so I always find that kind of interesting to be reading about. Here the Whole Time. This one I saw on Bookstagram, which is why I got it, and I believe it's a queer romance, which is also why I got it. Felipe can't wait for the winter break. Finally, he'll get some time away from the classmates who tease him incessantly about his weight. But Felipe's plan turns upside down when he learns that Kai, his neighbor from apartment 57, will be staying with him for 15 days, which is a problem because A, Felipe has had a crush on Kai since, well, forever, and B, Felipe has a list of body image insecurities and absolutely no idea how he's going to handle them while sharing a room with his lifelong crush. Suddenly, the days that once promised rest and relaxation and epic Netflix binging are a gauntlet of every unresolved issue in Felipe's life. But if he can overcome his insecurities, then maybe, just maybe, this break won't turn out to be such a disaster after all. It's another love story. That's why I was interested in it. And I did go to, so I'm based in Canada, and I'd gone downtown Toronto to Glad Day Bookshop, and it is a queer-friendly bookshop, and I had asked them for some titles. So this one I saw on Instagram and I bought there, but there were a few other ones that I had picked up there too, which aren't on this to be read cart yet. They're still on my other shelf. But once I clear this out, I'll be adding more books to it. So this one is The Country Guest House. And of course, it's about the country. There's water, there's beach on it. So of course I had to get it. When Hannah Russell suddenly becomes guardian to a 5-year-old, she's terrified she's not up to the challenge. She and Noah need to get to know each other, so she rents a country house on a lake in rural Colorado. When they arrive at the house, they are greeted by the owner, a handsome man who promises to stay out of their way. But his clumsy Great Dane, Romeo, has other ideas. Noah immediately bonds with the lovable dog, and Owen Abrams can't help but be drawn out of his solitude by his guests. As life throws challenges at this unlikely trio, they are tested in ways they never thought possible. All three will discover their strength, and despite their differences, they will fight to become a family. So it sounds like a cute read. I mean, it's probably not going to be a 5-star read. It'll probably be 3 or 4 stars, but I like those cute little quick books to go through. Then I have A Vintage Friendship. There's one more secret to share. The ring light is, I don't know if you could see that, but this one, it was an impulse buy. I was buying books and I didn't really know. It was kind of cute. There's like jackets kind of hanging on the front. There's a little puppy with a little French hat on, but I'm not sure what this is. The class of 72, Sarah, Allie, Joe, and Mitch were as close as sisters. Then life intervened and the 4 friends lost touch. Now in her 60s, Sarah has realized that those women were the best friends she'd ever had and is determined to get the gang back together. Allie is facing a huge turning point in her life, and Joe, after years of being a devoted wife and mom, needs to put herself first. None of them know what happened to Mitch. The coolest and most enigmatic of the foursome doesn't want to be found, and it seems that even after all these years, the women are still keeping a few secrets from each other. I actually really am excited for this because for some reason I love reading about people between the ages of 40 to 80. I just find it really interesting, and now I'm getting closer to 40, I'm 36 years old. So for me, I just find it interesting to read about older lives and how people are, the relationships that they're having at that age, the kind of wisdom they have to share. I can already see the next book, and it has book in the title, as a lot of my books do, and it's called Bookworm. Victoria is unhappily married to an ambitious and controlling lawyer, consumed with his career, burdened with overbearing in-laws, a bored dead-end job she can't seem to leave, and a best friend who doesn't seem to understand her. Victoria finds solace from the daily grind in her beloved books and the stories she makes up in her head. One day, in a favorite cafe, she notices an attractive man reading the same best-selling novel she is. As a woman yearning for her own happy ending, Victoria is sure it's fate. The handsome book lover must be her soulmate. There's one small problem. Victoria is already married. Frustrated and desperate to change her life, Victoria retreats to the dark places in her mind and thinks back to all the stories she's ever read in hopes of finding a solution. She begins imagining nocturnal trysts with cafe men and creative ways. Poison pickles were an inspired choice in Jane Smiley's A Thousand Acres of getting rid of the dreaded husband. It's all just harmless fantasy born of Victoria's fevered imagination and her books, until one night fiction and reality blur, and suddenly it seems Victoria is about to get everything she's wished for. So this sounds really good. I love that she retreats into books. I kind of love when people are at a turning point in life. I don't know if I'm going to like it if she's going to be cheating on her husband or something like that, but it does seem like it has potential. Mr. Perfect on Paper, another book that I bought because of the cover. It's so cute. And let's see. As the creator and CEO of the popular Jewish dating app JMate, matchmaker Dara Robinowitz knows the formula for lasting love, at least for everyone else. When it comes to her own love life, she's been idling indefinitely until her beloved Bub shares Dara's checklist for the perfect Jewish husband on national television, and charming news anchor Chris Steadfast proposes they turn Dara's search into must-see TV. As a non-Jewish single dad, Chris doesn't check any of Dora's boxes, but her hunt for Mr. Perfect is the ratings boost his show desperately needs. If only Chris could ignore his own pesky attraction to Dora, a task much easier said than done when I've been saying Dora and it's Dara. I've been reading too fast. Starts questioning if Perfect on Paper can compete with how hard she's falling for Chris. So this sounds like it's gonna be a cute love story. Let's see what's next, guys. We've got, The Endless Beach. So I don't have many Jenny Colgan books on this to be read cart, but I've read a few of her books, and they're always just cute, quick reads. They're all about beaches, bookshops, coffee shops, seaside, so I really enjoy that. When Flora Mackenzie traded her glum career in London for the remote Scottish island of Muir, she never dreamed that Joel, her difficult, adorable boss, would follow. Now, not only has Flora been reunited with her family and opened a charming cafe by the sea, but she and Joel are taking their first faltering steps into romance. With Joel away on business in New York, Flora is preparing for the next stage in her life, and that should be love. She's feeling it. Security in Joel's arms, sure. Marriage, not open for discussion. In the meantime, Flora is finding pleasure in a magnificent sight. Whales breaking waves off the beaches of Muir, but it also signals something less joyful. According to local superstition, it's an omen, and a warning that Flora's future could be as fleeting as the sea spray. A bracing season on the shores sets the stage for Jenny Colgan's delightful novel that's as funny, heartwarming, and unpredictable as love itself. So I think this is just going to be another cute read, probably 3 or 4 stars. So this is an Ellen Hilderbrand book, The Rumor. I finished reading the Paradise series from Ellen Hilderbrand. I had gone to Jamaica, and basically I brought the series with me, and it's the first Ellen Hilderbrand books I read, and I loved the series, so I just had to pick up another book of hers before my book ban started, so I'm excited for this one. And Madeline King and Grace Pank are best friends and the envy of Nantucket for their perfect marriages, their beautiful kids, their Saturday night double dates with their devoted husbands. But this summer, something's changed, and if there's anything Nantucket likes better than cocktails on the beach at sunset, it's a good rumor. And rumor has it that Madeline, a novelist, is battling writer's block with a deadline looming, bills piling up, and blank pages driving her to desperation and a desperately bad decision. That Grace, hard at work to transform her backyard into a garden paradise, has been collaborating a bit more closely than necessary with her ruggedly handsome landscape architect. As the gossip escalates and they face the possible loss of the happy lives they've worked so hard to create, Grace and Madeline try mightily to set the record straight, but the truth might be even worse than the rumor has it. So that's gonna be an interesting, thrilling read. We're almost down to the last book. This one is A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. I saw this on Instagram and I fell in love with it, and the cover is so cute. It's a hardcover. For Lila Reyes, a summer in England was never part of the plan. The plan was, 1, take over her abuela's role as head baker at their panaderia, 2, move in with her best friend after graduation, and 3, live happily ever after with her boyfriend. But then the trifecta happened, and everything, including Lila herself, fell apart. Worried about Lila's mental health, her parents make a new plan for her: spend 3 months with family friends in Winchester, England, to relax and reset. But with the lack of sun, a grumpy inn cook, and a small town lacking Miami flavor, both in food and otherwise, what would be a dream trip for some feels more like a nightmare to Lila, until she meets Orion Maxwell. A tea shop clerk with troubles of his own, Orion is determined to help Lila out of her funk and appoints himself as her personal tour guide. From Winchester's drama-filled music scene to the sweeping English countryside, it isn't long before Lila is charmed not only by Orion, but also by England itself. Soon a new future begins to form in Lila's mind, one that would mean leaving everything she ever planned behind. Another book that I love the idea of just uprooting your life. Things are changing. This is what happens in life. So I think I'm gonna love this one. We're down to 2 books on this shelf. And I can already see this one is a Christina Lauren book, The Soulmate Equation. I have a few Christine Lauren books. There's another one on this shelf, but I haven't read, the only one I did read, is In a Holidays. I read it a few years ago. I really enjoyed it. Single mom Jessica Davis is a statistics wizard, but no amount of number crunching can convince her to start dating. Raised by her grandparents who now help raise her 7-year-old daughter, Jess has been left behind too often to let anyone in. But then Jess hears about genetically a DNA-based matchmaking company that's predicted to change dating forever. The reliability of numbers. This Jess understands. At least she thought she did, until her test shows a 98% compatibility with another subject, one of Genetically's founders, Dr. Riva Penna. She already knows Dr. Penna, and the stubborn man is definitely not her soulmate, but Genetically has a proposition. Get to know him and we'll pay you. Jess, who is barely making ends meet, is in no position to turn it down. As the pair are dragged from one event to the next at Genetically's diamond match, Jess begins to realize that there might be more to the scientist and the science behind a soulmate than she thought. Funny, warm, and full of heart, The Soulmate Equation proves that the delicate balance between fate and choice can never be calculated. Sounds like it's gonna be interesting. And then this one you guys will have seen. It's just for the summer. I'm really excited for it. I have read other Abby Jimenez books. I read Life's Too Short. I read that last year. I really enjoyed it. And this one I already know the plot to because I've seen it on everywhere, on Bookstagram, on BookTube, so let's read it. When it comes to love, Emma is cursed. Every guy she dates finds his true love after they break up. But it turns out she's not the only one afflicted with this condition. His name is Justin, and his Reddit thread about being love's good luck charm has gone viral. Now the two have come up with an ingenious plan. If they date each other, their curses will cancel out and they'll go on to find their soulmate. Only Justin hasn't supposed to be so unbelievably cute. only Justin wasn't supposed to be so unbelievably cute and hilarious. But when Emma's toxic mother shows up and Justin has to assume guardianship of his 3 siblings, they're suddenly navigating a lot more than they expected, including catching real feelings. Has fate finally brought the perfect pair together, or will their cure be way more hazardous than the cure itself? This reminds me of that book, movie Good Luck Chuck, where he sleeps with women and then they get married the next time, and he doesn't want to be with the girl that he really likes because he's afraid she's just going to leave him. So I'm excited for this storyline. It's similar to the movie and I love the movie. And that's the very first shelf of my to be read cart. Let me know in the comments if your to be read cart is kind of leaning. I think I have too many books on it, but I don't want to take anything off. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I will be doing another video on the second shelf and all the books on that shelf. This is going to be a good series. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching my channel. Subscribe if you haven't, and tell me your favorite book in the comments or any of your favorite summer reads. Bye guys.